Awesome. It looks like we've got Ahmed Salah, welcome, and Imran Sharif, and Scott Jager. Thank you for joining. We'll give it a couple more minutes here to see if we have a couple more people joining. I see we have a few more hopping in, so thank you for those who are here early and on time. We'd love to, while we're waiting, if you want to post in the chat just a little bit about yourself and where your title and what you're hoping to get from this webinar. That way we can focus our conversation directly to your use case and what you're looking to achieve. So if you feel comfortable in chat posting something, we'd love to hear from you and a little bit about you. So we'll go ahead and jump in. Abdulmajeed is my co-presenter today, and I'll let him kind of do some quick introductions here.
Yeah, thank you, Brody. Thank you very much. So first of all, welcome everyone. Thank you for making the time today to join us. Hopefully this is going to be a conversational webinar, and we really hope that you participate with us throughout the webinar. Brody and myself, we will be covering a couple of points regarding the improving language proficiency. However, the application of that will be very wide and open. So please feel free to also pop up at any time on chat and participate either with a story or with a question or a comment related to the content that we're gonna discuss. So my name again is Abdulmajeed. I am the founder of Ibtikar Solution. We are based in the Middle East, and we've been partnering with Emmersion in the past almost year and a half now on how to actually work together on bringing this solution to the users whom would be in a desperate need for improving the way they look into communication and language, and using latest technology and increasing the effectiveness and efficiency of the process. Brody, back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Abdulmajeed. My name is Brody Horton. I'm Vice President of Customer Experience here at Emmersion. And Emmersion, as we'll learn more today, is all about proving language ability to unlock opportunities for individuals around the globe. As head of customer experience, I get to work with all of our clients, but in particular, I work most closely with our global clients who are the large contact centers and large universities around the globe. So I'm excited to be here with you today, share a little bit about Emmersion and how our solution can help specifically with the challenges in the Middle East and hiring talent, improving language ability in the academic setting as well in the Middle East. And to that end, kind of the title of this webinar was Proving Language Ability. And I want to start with kind of talking about why. Why do we care about proving language ability? And this really is at the heart of why Emmersion exists as a company. And I want to share a little bit about the story because I think it illustrates really well the need for being able to prove and certify language ability. So that you see here, Dr. Jacob Burtis, he is one of our co-founders. Before he became a doctor and did his PhD, he was Jacob Burtis, and he was part of the curriculum development program at the largest language training program in the world. It's called the Missionary Training Center, and he worked there for a number of years developing language curriculum. And he saw a need for opening up opportunities for people who know another language. And so he actually started a company to help tutor and train people in language ability. But as he was doing that, he realized that one of the biggest barriers to unlocking opportunities was not learning a language, but was actually proving that you know a language, right? It's not enough to be able to speak a language, but to unlock those opportunities, you need to prove that you can actually speak it. And so he did a PhD, went back and did a PhD focused on language assessments and studying how to assess for language ability. And the result of that, after a number of years of study, was the world's first fully automated and fully adaptive language assessment. And that is, what we call immersion today. Immersion is the engine and the result of this research. All of it was around this mission to unlock better opportunities for people. Over the past 5+ years since that first assessment was developed, the technology has improved, but we have reached a level of significance with the ability to share this technology with others in a way that has great impact. Some of those impacts have been in talent acquisition, where over 200,000 job seekers have been screened using the Immersion language assessment engine and have proven their language ability. And most of that talent acquisition screening happens outside of the United States. We also have about 600 universities who use our assessments for placement and progress testing. And our assessments have been used in validation studies by some of the top language learning companies around the globe, including Mango Languages, Busuu, Duolingo, and Rosetta Stone. And all of that is the result of the question that Jacob set out to ask, which was, how can we prove language ability in a way that can unlock opportunities? Abdulmajeed, the reason you and I are here together today is because we see that there is an opportunity to unlock potential for people by proving their language ability in the Middle East, and particularly for opening up job opportunities, right? Acquiring talent, companies like Teleperformance, Sykes, KPMG, Majorel, some of the world's largest contact centers and largest brands are using the immersion assessment to hire talent in their workforce. And now the question is, how can we use this same technology and apply it to the challenges that are being faced by folks in the Middle East who are looking to acquire talent? And I'd love to put this question to you, Abdulmajeed, and maybe have a little bit of a conversation about this. You work every day with folks in the Middle East who are hiring talent in a consultant role, in a human resource capacity. What are some of the challenges that you see that are unique to the Middle East and the challenges of acquiring talent in the Middle East, particularly related to language hires?
Yeah, Brody, in the Middle East, in the past maybe 5 to 6 years, things changed dramatically when it's come to acquiring talent and being able to develop and improve the capability of the talent. So there are maybe three key trends that we have observed in the past 5 years, and one of the key observation or trend is technology. So technology actually changed two key elements. One is the accessibility to talent. So before that, the accessibility of talent, it was very limited. It takes much longer time, but with the technology, it accelerated actually how companies can access talent pools. The second part of how technology influence the talent acquisition in the Middle East is providing opportunities which were actually not available in the past because of reducing cost of testing and assessment of people, where companies started to actually involve much wider population into their screening and assessment compared to what was happening in the past, where it was limited by cost. If they want to increase the number of candidates, they need to really allocate a big budget for that. The second element, apart from technology, is when it's come to also the repositioning of Middle East and companies in the Middle East as world or international players. Take for example, the airlines, also the banking and financial industries, oil and gas companies. So all of these industries actually got an opportunity not only just to focus on clients and customers from the Middle East, but they also expanded their outreach to outside this region, which also involved, getting in touch and serving customers with different backgrounds, from different countries and speaking different languages. And the third element is the talent themselves, and looking into some of the Middle East countries where there started to be more focus on nationals and giving opportunities specifically to nationals, which also shrinking the talent pool they are fishing from, and that require adapting better tools to improve the efficiency and impact of the screening and selection process, where they actually will be able to hire on time as per the expectation of their internal customer, but also at the same time, how to reduce the after hiring cost of development. So if they can really get the right person on the seat, that will really help them to reduce the cost of development or sending them to language institutions in order to learn the desired language.
Yeah. I like how you broke that down into those various challenges around, technology, the costs of hiring and keeping costs low, as well as the desire to hire more nationals and the need there to be able to screen for those nationals in a way that doesn't increase the cost associated, right? It sounds like there's a challenge of when you're looking to hire nationals, that could result in an increase in cost in the talent acquisition process. Is, as you mentioned, needing to send them to language learning institutions if they don't know the language as well. What would the impact be of being able to screen for candidates' language ability up front, so that how you're hiring those that are certified bilingual? What would the impact be to organizations that you work with, Abdulmajeed?
Yeah, the impact would be tremendous when it's come to giving especially the hiring manager opportunity to actually profile the candidates based on their language ability, which will at least eliminate the factor of the language. So that would not appear, especially when it's come to entering into interviews and face-to-face selection process. So that would really eliminate that sort of risk that we might actually bring in someone who doesn't have the level of language proficiency that is required by the company, especially when the company is really looking into providing an outstanding customer experience. So that is also a concern for service companies here in the Middle East, where they are actually because of the diversity of the population here, and people, they are speaking not only Arabic, but they are also the business language is English, in addition to some other languages based on the background of the workforce coming from different areas surrounding countries or also international countries.
Yeah, we've certainly seen that with some of our clients that we worked with, where not only in the Middle East, but other areas around the globe. And one in particular that I want to share a bit of their story is Majorel. So Majorel is one of our clients. They're one of the largest call centers in the world. They focus on a high level of customer service and customer satisfaction. It's a business process outsourcing that is focused on some of the largest brands that require a high level of language ability to meet the high customer satisfaction standards that they have. They've been working with Emmersion for about 3 years now and have screened over 5,000 candidates using our assessments, primarily in English, Japanese, and French, although they have used some of our other languages as well. And one of the challenges that they have seen is exactly the challenge that you mentioned, Abdulmajeed, some of those of needing to hire quickly, but while also keeping costs low and hiring a global and diverse workforce. And we recently had an opportunity to discuss with Elaine Kaufman, who is the Vice President of Human Resources for Majorel, about some of these challenges. And I want to share just a few video clips here of what she shared about their experience. So here she's talking about the need to hire quickly and what Emmersion has done to help them with that challenge.
Automated language tests are really needed because most of the people that take the test are not on site, and some of them are, and they're all across the globe. For example, when we're hiring for a Malaysia site, maybe sitting in Japan, and they take the test in Japan. So we never see them. It has to be automated, and it has to be something that we can reliably depend on to be able to hire people that have competent speaking skills, because we need competency in both the language that they're speaking in plus the English language. So they have to do both. And the automated test is the only way we can efficiently and effectively make that kind of an assessment. So, and if they pass the test and we know that they have the appropriate competency and language skill, chances are they're going to have the appropriate competency to do the job, and that helps us with our retention.
So there we heard from Elaine, talking about the need to hire efficiently and effectively. And Emmersion helps do that by providing the opportunity for them to take a test remote, take it on their time, and be able to get a score immediately back to make a decision about whether or not the individual should be hired. So certainly it decreases the time that it takes to assess somebody for language, sending them out to a third party, to a language institution, getting the results back a few days later. In that time, as you mentioned, Abdulmajeed, if you have a need to hire somebody, but you're looking to hire nationals and you're waiting a few days just for language results, that can greatly, decrease your effectiveness in hiring. I don't know if you have any thoughts or comments you wanted to share about that as well, Abdulmajeed.
Yeah, I think she touched on a very important point where actually you are hiring globally. So even if you are focusing on a certain country, you actually looking into deployment of some of those stuff into another country. One of the concerns that actually we've seen also with some of our clients is when it's come to security and prove identity of the candidates. So that especially when it's come to online, assessment, they are always concerned is the one who's taking the test is the same candidate that we are actually interested in, or this is somebody else. And this is maybe this has been also some of the conversation that we been having with some of the companies and clients here in the Middle East, looking into this and how actually Emmersion can ensure that sort of identity validation.
Yeah, it's a really great point and a great question. And as we're going to see here, as we talk about human raters, it's one that is a big concern as you transition from doing a human rated evaluation to a computer-based evaluation. How do we know that this is the person we're trying to evaluate? Emmersion is used in over 150 countries around the globe, and most of that hiring, most of that assessment is done remote. We have implemented a few security practices on our side that are built into the assessment itself to ensure for integrity, test integrity, and test taker identity. So there's identity checks and integrity agreements that are in place. Our director of language assessments, Judson Hart, has done extensive research and third-party research around cheating prevention measures and the most effective ways to prevent cheating or fraud. And we've built in right into the assessment a number of measures that have been proven to be most effective while also keeping costs low. Because one of the things that we've found is, our goal of our assessment is to unlock opportunities. Most of the automated tests or the language tests you might be familiar with, like an IELTS or a TOEFL, those are the academic assessments that prove language ability at that high level. They're very expensive and they take a lot of time to prepare for, and they take a lot of time to go through. Our assessment is the exact opposite. It's 10 to 15 minutes. It is just as valid, but it is able to be done remotely. And while we go through that process, we want them to also be able to take that test without needing to increase that cost. So a 10 to 15 minute assessment that is at a cost that you can actually pay for every applicant to take. There are some fraud prevention measures we could get into, which would actually double or triple the cost of that assessment. But the way we've structured the technology for fraud protection and cheating prevention doesn't increase the cost at all of the assessment. So it still keeps it at a cost low enough that you can use it for talent screening. So I think that is a really good point. And here we're going to hear from Elaine about human raters and the process they went through and the change that it was for them in one of their locations to switch from a human rater process to the computer process and the benefits that they saw from that.
In one of our sites in the beginning, we didn't have an automated testing process, and we relied on our supervisors and managers to conduct a language assessment to determine if the person was competent. And what we learned is that what they often would pass was not appropriate for the program they were on. And these people ended up attriting and turning over, or we had to forcibly, performance manage them because they were not able to be literate in the language that was required. So it's done a lot in that regards, because we know when we hire them that they absolutely can speak the language. That means that, especially having English competency, most of the training is done only in English. If they didn't have good level English competency, they couldn't even make it through training. So with the automated testing in their both languages, then we have the ability to say, yes, we know that they can understand and comprehend, they can make it through the training, and they will be successful on the floor.
So there we heard a few things from Elaine related to that transition from human raters to a computer assessment. One thing she mentioned is the inaccuracy of the human raters, that they were passing through people that then, as she mentioned, it was a retention problem because they couldn't even make it through training. They passed somebody through that they thought would be capable, but the reality is humans are just very inconsistent and unreliable in evaluating for language performance. But by transitioning to the automated process, now not only do they know they'll make it through training, which then removes a bunch of the attrition that happens in the first few weeks, but then that they can also perform in the job long term. Abdulmajeed, anything you wanted to add there?
Yeah, I think the shift from human raters into automated process. I think one of the key elements from the candidate's point of view, it's lifting a lot of pressure and anxiety of the test itself, because sitting in front of someone, that person is looking into each and single, a movement, not only a word that you are actually, speaking. So that actually is taking into the experience of the candidates into a new level, where they are, and the idea of the automation itself, it's became now more acceptable throughout different industries. And it's part of, especially if they are looking into younger generation, video gamers, whom actually already had that sort of mindset and mentality of working through a machine into getting a certain results. So I think the way the process is working with the automated test is actually more comfortable for the candidates, and it gives sort of a consistent reference when it comes to evaluating them. So there is no human preference, there is no factor which actually contribute to whether the likability of the person to the human rater, that element is completely eliminated.
Yeah, I agree 100%. There's a lot there that especially as you mentioned, the challenges of transitioning to technology. This is one of those things that talent and hiring managers will need to adopt, right? A shift to recruiting in a way that meets the current generation, and then allows them to take an assessment on their time, in the way that they are used to operating. So I think that's a really good point there that you make. We're running out of time here, so I just wanted to sum up with a little bit about the assessment, and then we can get into a Q&A. Is that what we're trying to do, as we mentioned at the beginning, is unlock opportunities for folks. The best way to do that is through providing job opportunities to where they can prove their language ability and earn based on their ability, right? Skill-based hiring is more and more one of the most important aspects of human resource and talent acquisition. And Emmersion just allows them to prove that skill of their language ability in a fast and effective way, as we heard from Elaine. With that, we'd love to open up if there are any questions that we can answer in the last couple of minutes here. And we appreciate everybody attending the webinar. Let me open the chat, make sure I don't miss any. I think that the one that you had brought up earlier, Abdulmajeed, around cheating prevention is one that we hear often. A few more, let's see, we've got a question that came in here from Asma. Let's see, what levels do you test? Is it just beginners, and across what spectrum? Which is a great question. So our assessment is built, as I mentioned, fully adaptive, meaning that it can adapt to the ability of the test taker as the test goes along. So if the test taker has a very low language ability, the test will quickly be able to identify that and present them prompts that are at their ability level and dial in very precisely to that. Now, that said, we go all the way up to the advanced and superior levels. And on the similar scales, you have the Common European Framework of Reference. We cover all of the spectrum from A1 up to C2. The IELTS and TOEFL scale, we cover all the way up to advanced. So it's across the entire spectrum. So it's a good question that came in there. Another one here, let's see, with the digital transformation, what is the intent to constantly replace humans? Abdulmajeed, I'd love to hear your answer to this. You mentioned the adoption of technology being key and important. But we hear this a lot of, well, we don't want robots to take our jobs, right? So how do we balance that, and how can this be a benefit rather than a replacement?
Yeah, this is very interesting point, and always comes whenever the conversation is around technology and automation. And the interesting part that we actually have started to observe as technology, especially when it comes to artificial intelligence, when it comes to different advanced emerging technologies, that actually instead of replacing it, it's augmenting the human capability. So we started to see line managers being able to make better decision, faster decision. We started to see actually there are maybe some of the activities, not the job actually. So the raters, we still need raters to interpret some of those results, to actually align some of the outcomes of these testing. So the role and the job changing into more impactful rather than operational. So with automation, it takes care actually of the whole operational work that is being, increasing the load on the human rater and so on, into being able to interpret the data, align the data, and map the data to the desired results of the organization.
Yeah, I think it's well put, and I would say that often this concern is alleviated when folks get to try the assessment, and so that's one of the things I would recommend is we have the ability for you to try the assessment as well, so you can go ahead and scan that QR code and receive a link to take the assessment, try it out yourself, and see what it's like. Additionally, we'd love for you to reach out and connect with us if you have further questions afterwards. There's our emails and our LinkedIn profiles, but we appreciate everybody attending today and the time that you've taken to be with us, and we hope that we can help you prove language ability for your situation, and we thank you all for joining us.
Thank you everyone.
Thanks. Have a great day.